does keep people connected. If you're an alumni member or a former graduate of high school, you're still a part of the team. You may move somewhere else and start working maybe in a different state or outside of Oklahoma City, but you'll always be a part of the Millwood Falcons and be a part of that alumni association. So it keeps everybody together, and I'm glad that we're able to create an environment like that. I know the coaches appreciate it, but going back to academics, I mean, if you don't make your grades at Millwood, you don't play.
You don't play
in any sport. So that's a high priority here at this school. So it's taken seriously, and I think the kids have really adapted to it in a really good way. A lot of these young athletes go on to play collegiate sports in whatever sport that they're participating in. So it starts with academics, and they do a great job of that here in Millwood.
We're going to take an opening break, and we'll come back and we'll talk some band on the other side. But before we do that, got to tell you, if you didn't already know, today, of course, event is being sponsored by Super Prep, and our own Oklahoma sports high school college prep insider, Miles Perry, is in the building. We'll talk to him at the top of the hour as well, as Super Prep is here. He's like Shamsharania. I mean, the old Woj bombs. If your phone is going off right now, you probably just got a notification on something going on at Super.
Well, we're lucky to have Miles Perry. I think one day he's going to be blessed with an opportunity to go work at a major entity like ESPN or a CBS or a Fox Sports or something like that. But so far, he's serving his community. He's serving the fans of Oklahoma, and he does a great job of covering sports all over the state, the programs, the athletes, the different teams, the championship runs that a lot of these schools endure, such as Millwood, and it's really great to get Miles Perry in today to talk more about that. So I'm looking forward to those conversations.
That's going to be great. We'll talk to him right about the top of the hour. Once again, today's events is being sponsored by SSM Health, of course, Super Prep, and PPBC TV. If you have not already found it, download that app right now. Go ahead and get it. Get the app. Why? Because there's going to be a lot more prep material coming out in weeks to come. You're going to want to make sure you have it, because your student, yes, parents who are watching, your student will be featured. On the other side comes break. This is the Fall Sports Media Day right here at Millwood High School on OKC Sports Radio 105.3. We'll be right back. Here we go. Welcome back to Fall Sports Media Day here at Millwood High School, sponsored by SSM Health at St. Anthony, and of course, Super Prep and PPBC TV. I'm Maurice Prince. Of course, Jay Swick is the co-host this afternoon, taking you all the way through. And right now, we're going to start off with the folks that entertain you while you're in the stand. Probably the most important people beside the players themselves, it's the band. Can somebody let the band do what they do? Joining me at the table, I have to get the athlete's name, but I know Leslie Bro is the head coach or the band director, I would say. A band administrator, okay? That's the term that's used. Hey, talk to me real quick, Leslie, if you will, as you introduce the athletes that are there with us today. Tell me about what goes into, creating a good, strong band program. What are the pieces that go into that?
Okay, so first here I have Malia Johnson and I have Armand Bruner. And with that, it is just a lot of practice. They learn their music, they separate, they come back together, and just put it all together and make it happen.
All right. So when it comes to polishing those routines, here's the student athlete question right here. How many hours do you guys spend getting it ready for the routines?
Ooh,
I can personally answer that. Really,
He said, "Let me get this
You
mic."
don't really try to track the hours, the amount of work you put in. It's really, we just go with the floor. Sometimes practice can end. We used to practice till midnight at one point. In all reality, and there's many kids in there that really put forth that energy. So we put many hours, really can't be counted, days and weeks and months if needed.
Now, when it comes to showing the spirit, you guys always have to show that Falcon pride, and you guys are fortunate enough to have to play the scoring song
Yes.
a lot.
Yes.
I mean, that is like in your
Yes.
memory. Talk to me about the pride that you guys take that it becomes the infectious part of what the crowd enjoys about that.
Well, it really goes into a lot of what our band directors pour into us. They're like, no matter if you want to do it or not, this is your school, this is where you go, this is where you got to show your pride. So even if it's like, they scoring too much, we don't want to play the fight song no more, we really got to show that, give the crowd what they want.
I like the way she said that, Swick. You talk about somebody giving things, giving the crowd and the energy and maintaining that focus.
Right.
When it comes to performances over the last few years, what stood out to you as some of the places that you've really enjoyed performing at?
Personally, my personal experience and my personal opinion, I really enjoyed the Bahamas trip because you don't really see a lot of other bands go anywhere. To take hundreds of kids, or I ain't gonna say hundreds, but to take over more than 70, 80 kids to out of the country as a high school, you don't really much see that. But as our band program has grown over all these many years, we have earned the rights to say that we have been the only band in Oklahoma that has been international, and that's really just amazing. That's really amazing.
I think that there's a standard when it comes to Millwood bands. Like that, I mean, there is a reputation of being the best in the state. And when it comes to, preparing your music and marching and everything that's involved, of years past where, the Millwood band is just, that's what when you go to a Millwood athletic game, especially a football game, you're going to witness not only good sports and good football, but you get the pleasure and the opportunity to witness what you guys do, musically as a band. What does it take to be a part of the band? Is there tryouts? You've got to obviously be able to play instruments at a high level. Then you got to play together, and then you've got to learn how to march. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to prepare you for the season.
Yeah, the standard is set pretty high, and it's a pretty hard bar to get with. We have a lot of young people, a lot of young kids that come in, and you see a lot of them marching out there. You would think they was in a high school marching with the big kids and stuff like that. Over the many years, the bar has been set really, really high, and it's it takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Going into the band program. It just takes a lot of great athleticism and great sportsmanship and bandsmanship to be a real good instrument player. And anybody could do it. It just takes a real deal dying passion for it. I ain't gonna say dying passion, my fault, but it just takes a real deal passion for it.
Yeah, I think it also takes dedication, because it's hard of course, any sport is going to be difficult to play. And we're doing a lot. We're marching, playing music, learning drills, all of that. I feel like it just takes a lot of dedication and respect to have to give.
What instruments do you particularly do you play?
I play baritone.
I am personally. I play the French horn.
Leslie, if I could come back to you for a second, Coach, when we start looking at the Millwood band, how unusual, it's not unusual now, but how refreshing is it that opponents ask you if you're coming?
It's very refreshing.
Because again, I've been fortunate enough to have been at some of these events on road games, and the other home team gives time for the Millwood band to perform.
They do.
So is emphasis, everybody always wants to look at the marching and the uniformed, routines that you have, but the sound. How much emphasis if it don't sound, are we not marching, or if it doesn't have the sound? How do you determine that, or what is the factor into that?
Oh, they're going to keep playing until it sounds like it's supposed to. They're going to keep going round and round. I mean, it's really about being a part of the culture. Like, the culture is what sets the tone. The culture at Millwood is what sets the tone, and that's how they play.
So when it comes to that, so in other words, the expectation is when you're out there, it's going to sound right and it's going to look right.
Absolutely.
And there's a little bit of, there's a little bit of pride that goes into being a part of the Millwood Marching Band. I mean, when you tell people, hey, I'm in band, they're like, okay, but when you say you're a part of the Millwood Band, then it's like, oh, okay.
It's a different type of tone to it.
Do you guys experience that?
Yeah, we have a lot of, personally, a lot of us, we see a lot of people come ask, like, even from other bands, they're talking about, like, hey, man, like, we just love y'all band. Like, we love to hear y'all band playing. And it's like, oh, I wanted to play in y'all band. And it's like, man, I would love to play in y'all band. Of course, we see stuff like that happen a lot. Yeah,
and
it's
also
just a
being in
different
the
type of tone.
stands and then hearing you play, and it may be your version of a modern day song, that's a top 20 hit on the radio and different things like that.
Yeah.
I love to hear your versions of different songs that are popular in today's era.
We receive a lot of requests on music, and our band director tries, execute his best to, like, his best of ability. And, it always comes out the best, and stuff like that. And, I mean, like, we get a lot of, like, popular songs nowadays every once in a while. Sometimes we like to, give them a couple of throwbacks, for the older people. But, I mean, regardless, everybody loves to hear the band play.
Well, we appreciate you getting. I'm sure you've already started, right? When did band season start?
July
23rd.
23rd.
Last week of July.
So the last week of July.
Yes.
So again, the first home game this year is Soul Bowl.
Yes.
So are the Soul Bowl routines already there?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Would you like to leak anything about the performances?
Hey, you gotta keep
Keeping that under wraps.
Hey, proper
Show
journalism
Not
requires
bad.
you
Not
have to
bad.
ask the question, okay? That's what you're supposed to do. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side, and we'll get to the other performance, the dancers, the cheer squad. That's all coming up next. This is Fall Sports Media Day here at Millwood High School on OKC Sports Radio 105.3. Fall Sports Media Day here at Millwood continues. Maurice Prince and Jay Swick with you.
That's right.
And coming up, Swick, I'll let you go ahead and introduce the Sapphire Dancers.
Yeah, we've got assistant coach Deirdre and the captain of the Sapphires, Talia Dillard, here with us. And so glad to have you. We've watched from afar, but to get some insight on what you guys do day to day is pretty interesting. Tell us about the Sapphires and just, the different things and activities that you guys have in the fall.
The Sapphires is a sisterhood. We go off bonds, and we just do a lot of hard work, especially with and without the band. Like, so during the fall, it's football season. We got to do field shows. We still marching, stuff like that. So we have practice all the time, even without them.
So you're captain.
Yes.
That's a pretty big honor.
It's my second year as captain.
How many members?
Right now we have 6 girls, including me.
Okay, Coach, how do you get these girls to work together? Talk about your role with the Sapphires.
Well, basically, I just come in and I just tell them how great they are, see how hard they're working all together, to let them know that our captain, Talia, always sets the standard and sets the tone. And so if the captain is doing it, then we have to follow suit. Because we can't just have the captain out there working it and then everyone behind her. When she trusts you, because she can't see behind her, she has to trust that you all are going to put in the extra work as well.
Now, is it tough to learn the choreography?
All the time. Because, we have over 100 stands. So that's just stands. You got to include marches. You have to do your field show. You got to do the catch-ons. It's a lot of stuff that you got to remember, but I can do it.
Now, are you coordinating with the band as well?
Yes, so usually, when they tell us they playing a new song, we're like, okay, and then we go look up the song, we'll make up something to it, and then we just keep going from there. And then they don't really give us a heads up, but it's very, close to the time, so you got to be okay, fast. So we do it, but it's hard.
So developing different routines based on tempo is something more that you would have to do more so than absolutely knowing a song.
Yes, because you have to have your fast, you have to have your slow, and you have to have your medium. There's there's difference. You can't just do every stand to every song, the same song. You can't do that.
Now, with that being said, talk to me about Coach, you made the comment about keeping their confidence high, but there's also, those who have to keep sure that it's a professional look. It is something that represents the brand in Millwood and keeps it at a high standard. Talk about how that standard has to be maintained, from every level, including the Sapphires.
So a lot of times when you see the band or you hear the band, the dancers are the first people that you will see when the band is coming. So when we see you, you have to set the tone once again, and your energy and your confidence, it is showing while you are performing. And before the band gets here, you have to set that into whatever you give is what the band is going to give. So if you hear the band killing it, you have to kill it with the band.
Now, is there a tryout process, and what do you look for when you add new Sapphire members? What's the ideal candidate?
So, of course, there's always a tryout. Even the captain has to retry out. Every member has to retry out because there's no certain spot.
Every year.
Because when you feel comfortable, that's when you tend to lack off. So what I look for is presentation. I look for confidence. Some girls may not, catch on to choreography as well, but I want to see how confident you are and how quick, and if you are able to at least say, I'm going to keep trying, or if you're going to give up. I can't deal with the girl that's going to give up. I can deal with you if you are going to try and keep pushing, and then able to take critiques as well.
Well, and also smiles.
Of course.
You've got to put out that positive
Of
energy.
course.
And as you see with Talia, she does a great job of that right
She
now.
has not stopped smiling since the segment began.
Because it is trained and drilled in her to smile no matter what's going on. If we're losing a game, we're winning a game. If it's raining, snowing, or sleeting, we're going to be smiling.
You won't tell by the Sapphires. Sapphires are going to be shining regardless.
Shining.
Talia, if you would, the routines, because after the routines, there has to be a basic regimen to keep you, fit, to keep you in the having the best ability to perform. So, what does that routine look like, and how daily do the Sapphires do it?
So after like performances and stuff, we stretch, and we just like come together. We talk how we want to do stuff. I think it's just the bond that I was talking about. That's what we do all the time. We sit and we just talk to each other, stretch. We eat good, and yeah, that's just what we do. And music, we gonna hear if the Sapphires is practicing, you're gonna hear music, some band music. Any music you're gonna hear, so that's what we do.
How many different routines are we talking about here? How many different routines do you have to memorize?
So it all depends on like what we're doing. So if we're at a football game, like Sobo for instance, we have to do stands. So we have to do our stand dance. So that's a whole routine together. So I just throw it. We have to do marches. You have to do catch-ons, and you have to do a field show. So it's a lot because we got like 7 marches. Really more. We got 150 stands. We got like 3 stand dances, and then the field show is like a minute or 2.
Now, Talia, obviously being the captain at a prestigious program like Millwood, is this something that you plan to do at the college level once you graduate high school? Is that something you're pursuing?
Of course. I definitely want to be in the GGs. That's the Golden Girls at Alcorn. I want to do that, or I'm going to try out for Feline at Langston University.
That's awesome.
Coach,
Cool.
Final question for you. Sapphire fashion. Who designs it? Who comes up with it? What is the secret behind it? And are there new fits for every year?
There will be new fits for every year. Who makes it? A lot of people make it. It's just who has the best,
Yeah.
and who is affordable as well.
Yeah.
But we try to switch up our style a lot, so nobody can ever bite off of us. But some of them is handmade too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Handmade.
Okay.
Handmade.
We all get our own input on what we want to
Yes.
do, especially for like big games and stuff. So championship, Sobo. Like, y'all
Okay, so in
gonna
other
see
words, this again, that is one of the first games of the year, of course. So the outfits are they already designed, or are they ready?
Oh yeah, y'all gonna see it.
All right.
They ready.
Well, I think a lot of people are going to see it. Soul Bowl is going to be packed out this year. I'm very much looking forward to that day. That's
Thank
going to be a
you.
lot of fun.
Thank you so much for stopping by. Take another quick break, come back, and we're going to go to volleyball coming up next. This is Millwood Media Day, Fall Sports Edition. Maurice Prince, Jay Swick, OKC Sports Radio 105.3.
Thank you.
Awesome. Welcome back to Fall Sports Media Day here at Millwood High School. Maurice Prince and Jay Swick here with you. Of course, today's events is sponsored by Super Prep, SSM Health, and PPBC TV. Next up, we're going to get courtside and talk volleyball right now. Have Coach Rose here, also student athletes Isabella Perez and Ann White joining us at the table. Coach Rose, talk to me about the development of this program. Where is this program at right now?
So I can tell you that when I came, I was a little concerned. I was like, okay, let's see where we are. Let's see what we're going to do. These girls can play volleyball. They know it. They know the lingo. And that's the number one battle. Is if you know the sport, the skills I can teach.
Well, I feel like volleyball, especially women's volleyball, has grown in popularity so much over the last 10 years. It's incredible. You're now seeing more coverage. You're seeing it on TV more. You can stream it live. It's really grown in just at levels that I didn't really expect. And just to hear more about your program is really interesting. Talk to me about just what last year was like and kind of what this year is looking like.
Yes.
In your as far as expectations.
Expectations. So I've taken over the program this year. So last year I know they graduated about 8 seniors. So we're starting young. But when I tell you I have some freshmen and then these 2 seniors who intertwine, it's going to be nice. It's going to be nice.
And of course, dual sport athlete. You've played some basketball.
Yes.
How has that just talk to me about your love for volleyball, Ann? Because you have a love for basketball that I know. But what about your love for volleyball?
I would say my love for volleyball is very mentally it's aggressive. I always want to spike on somebody's head or get a good dig, get a good pass starting off. I've been known to serve out games, just doing my thing. So I love it all. I love the skill. I love the atmospheric practice. I love it all.
All right.
What would your position be? What is your role on this team?
Not to sound kind of cocky or anything, but like everything but setter.
Okay.
Okay, Isabella, what is as a senior on this team too? You've seen this program grow. You've seen the excitement. What excites you about this upcoming season?
What excites me the most is like all these new freshmen and just like underclassmen. It's good to see them like when us seniors leave that the program will still be in good hands, and like just seeing the team dynamic and like us coming together as one and like as a union. Like I think that's just what really like makes me excited and like enjoys this season.
What would you say your role on the team is? Coach, you talked about some of the players that have graduated, so now you've got to take on kind of more of a leadership role. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I totally agree. Every day, me and my other senior Ann, we just come in there, tell them have a good attitude, one mistake, it's okay, just get back up and go for the next, just tell them that like in any little minor mistake, it's always fixable, don't beat yourself up about it because, I was once in their shoes and, I was trying to get up to, the senior spot. So like just taking their, like just showing them that it's okay to be, themselves and like just play out to their full potential is kind of just what I feel like is a good leader to me and like what I like to show every day at practice.
What are some of the goals and aspirations that you have for your team this year? What's a perfect scenario, a perfect season look like for Millwood volleyball?
So right now the biggest thing I keep telling the girls is have fun. Have fun. Skills are coming. They're there. We're athletic. So once you understand that I want to have fun, I learn the game, it makes it funner. So it's up to the girls, and I tell them all the time, and like Isabella just said, next play. We make a mistake, next play. Because if not, we're going to come down, we're going to have to dig ourselves out. But if you have the mindset of next play, 1% better, we are going to be just fine in this program this year.
Yeah, and I'm assuming fundamentals is something that you are just hammering into their heads.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want to talk, how do you get the new incoming class to learn how to deal with momentum shifts? Volleyball is one of those sports where things start rolling.
Yeah.
It looks like it looks like it's the end and it's actually the beginning.
Yeah.
How do you communicate that?
So the biggest thing right now is so we're covering defense, and I tell them if our defense is spectacular, offense is coming. So when they have the momentum on defense, when our girls are going up for blocks, I'm telling they're excited. You know, they know when that block comes, I have a hit next. So they're getting excited by just coming in. The freshmen, the big part that I love with Millwood right now is that our middle school is doing phenomenal. So when you have a good middle school program feeding into the high school, we don't have to cover a lot of skill sets coming into with their ninth graders.
Now, what are, and this is a question for you athletes, what do you do to prepare yourself for the season? What are some off-season activities that you work on in order to be ready for the season to be better volleyball players?
For the most part, I play club outside of school, so,
Okay.
Training outside, staying consistent, trying to get into the gym as much, anytime I could pick up a volleyball is just anytime making me 1% better. And also, just keeping up with, my health and, making sure I'm hydrated all the time and kind of just getting my cardio up so when the season does come, I got to go chase a ball, I'm not winded or anything. I'm just ready to go, and that's basically what I do.
What about you, Ann?
So during the summer, I do a lot of different things. I would say mainly during summer, I work on my mental health and making money mainly. So for volleyball, getting myself prepared, I do a lot of reading. Just me mentally knowing that I have to be determined, I have to be consistent, showing up to practice with a positive attitude every single day, knowing that one mistake can make me mad and it can affect somebody else. It's just the domino effect for each time. So I just have to work on myself mentally, knowing I have to carry the team with my attitude and my demeanors.
Yeah, being a dual sport athlete, basketball starts late fall. Does that cross paths? Does that intersect volleyball and basketball?
So our season starts when their preseason starts. So it's a little difficult, yes.
Gotcha.
And if I could, talk to me, and Isabella, you answer this one as well. Give me an opponent that you guys have played that has provided some excitement in the games that you're looking forward to seeing again this season.
Douglas. Every time it's just going to be Douglas, right?
Soul Bowl volleyball.
Soul Bowl volleyball, so we're going to have to get there. Is that the same for you, Ann?
She mentioned Douglas. Now, this is one of my favorite teams to play, Star Spencer. I love playing that team. It's the excitement on their faces, them on the court. I hope to see more of a competition this year. I want the competition with them.
With the sport exploding, you are pioneering it. All of you are being a part of pioneer of growing it so the sport can grow. Look forward to getting to that level of that competition when it's all there. Imparting both of the seniors, could you talk about what's something that you definitely want to do? I mean, obviously winning is that, but what would prescribe for both of you a good season? Now, I know it's Millwood's mantra not to single anything out, but to stay here. What is your personal feeling, or what would be a good season for you?
I'm going to start with good grades, of course. We are student athletes, first of all. I would say the first thing for me is to always stay positive, to end the season with a good win, to have a connected team, to know that we're not just out there individually. There's no I in team, to know that we're doing this together, that we're having fun, not just on the court, but outside. The bus rides there, to see each other in the hallways. That connection is what I want to see throughout the year. To end my season off knowing that I personally and my other seniors have made an impact on these younger freshmen and sophomores and juniors, to know that they can carry us after we leave.
Coach, when's game number 1?
So game number 1 is actually going to be August 26th.
Okay.
We'll play Southeast here.
Okay, so it's right around the corner.
Right here.
We're going to jump head first into this
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Want to thank Coach Rose and, of course, student athletes Isabella and Ann for both stopping by today. Hey, this is Fall Sports Media Day. It's a good day to be a Falcon, and they are the reason why. We'll be right back on the other side. This is OKC Sports Radio 105.3. Welcome back. Again, Fall Sports Media Day here at Millwood High School. Maurice Prince, Jay Swick with you. Now we're going to do a little bit of running. Have of course, Langston Hall of Famer is their head coach. Mr. Julius Koger is here. And also student athlete Destiny Johnson is joining us today. Of course, she is a dual sport star for the Falcons. But today we're going to focus in on cross country. Now, Julius, of course, running is in your blood. That is something that you have learned from the Hall of Fame coach himself at Langston, Coach Hilliard. Got to give him some love. For sure. But for that being said, that passion, how did you bring that to this program, and how was it important to seed that program here at Millwood?
It was actually kind of easy, being that Millwood already has like a good, rich history of being competitive and winning. I come with the same ideas and that, so it was kind of easy. They already got a winning culture. I'm all about winning. I'm all about producing and making better athletes, and this is a good place to do it.
What's the key to success when it comes to cross country? People that are unfamiliar with it, like me, I really want to know kind of how you gauge success and what you're trying to accomplish year in, year out.
Time, getting each individual's time down. That's the main goal. In order to get that, you got to tap into that athlete's mental ability. I know it's mostly physical, but if they don't have it in their mind and in their heart, it ain't gonna work. So tapping into that as a coach, seeing what I can get to motivate them, get them to motivate themselves, and then go from there.
Yeah, and when you work with these athletes, how do you get them to push themselves that's so hard? Because when you're cross country, it's hot, and then you're doing different links. I mean, at some point you reach a wall. How do you get them to get through that? And I want to hear from you as well, Destiny.
I'm gonna be honest. I actually been kind of blessed in that area where I get athletes who are actually kind of motivated themselves. They get motivated by me. I'm gonna praise you the same way I get onto you. So you're going to get the same energy no matter what. So if you're doing bad, I'm going to give you some energy. If you're doing great, I'm going to give you the same level of energy. So I hope I think that helps. And then, as I said, I've just been blessed with having some really good athletes who buy into what I got going on. And they believe pretty much everything I say. And that's kind of how I like it. I kind of say when it comes to the track, when it comes to our events and stuff like that, anything I say should be written in red. Like Jesus, like in the Bible, anything I say should be in the red out here. So if I get them to buy into that, then they usually have success.
What's it take for you, Destiny? I mean, what goes into being a cross-country athlete, and how do you get better, and faster, stronger year by year?
I mean, I kind of like to put it into terms in my head. Imagine running 3 miles and then going right back to just running one lap. It really is a mental game, like he said, and if I'm not strong up here, it's going to take a lot for me to do it physically. I definitely would say having a good coach-player relationship, it's really important. I feed off of his energy just how he feeds off of mine. He likes to tell me there's no I can't or I don't want to. You're trying. You're going to keep progressing. And that's really what track is. It's a process. You got to have patience, and patience is a virtue.
Well, and then to have a coach like Coach Koger, who's a Hall of Fame at the collegiate level, you know what he says is truth.
Yes.
Because he's been there, done that. He's been in your shoes and experienced that. And that's got to be, a comforting thing to know and learn from somebody of that magnitude.
Absolutely. I transferred going into my junior year. I came to Millwood, and I didn't always have the best track experience dealing with other coaches or so on. And meeting Coach Drew, I gained that trust with him. He really is a man of his word, and he's gonna get you to where you want to be.
Destiny, I can honestly say now I know from watching you play other sports where the mental toughness actually came from. This is a behind the scenes look, if you will, on the makeup. This is a young lady who understands what it is to play with heart. She played her basketball season last year, injured for majority of it, and pushed way through. And now I see from Coach Koger where that drive came from. With your ability to isolate and get that wind, how does that translate for other athletes out there, telling them about how to keep the wind and keep mentally focused? Because other sports really benefit from what you accomplish in cross country. Can you explain that a little bit?
Running cross country is going to keep you in shape for sure. It's going to drive you. And as far as when it comes to your mental, when it comes to other sports, me being injured, that was my first time ever being out of anything, and I could tell how it affected me. If I would just sit there and be stuck in the mud and just dwell on my injury, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. I ran a 59, and I was running really low times and where I wanted to be at, and where I'm still progressing, of course, but I got where I wanted to be, and I got on the podium with the injured knee. There was some factors to that where I couldn't run in blocks or so on, but I still did it because I wanted to push myself. I wanted to get out there. You have to keep your heart in it. You can't let yourself dwell. You can't keep being sad about it or sulking. It happened, and now it's up to you to keep putting in the work to get better.
What's that process been like for you coming off that injury? And then, you want to heal from that injury, but you also need to put in the work behind the scenes in the summer to prepare you for, game time, when you've got to produce. Because if you're not taking care of your body in the summertime and you just expect to, jump in and be a cross-country runner once the season starts, you're kind of behind the eight ball.
Yes.
What's that been like for you? And can you give us a health update right now?
I am currently, I would say I feel great. I'm still getting myself together physical therapy, yoga, stuff like that to keep my leg good mobility. I ran USATF track. I went to Junior Olympics in Savannah, Georgia, and I competed in the 400 and the mixed 4x4 for the first time. I'm actually one of the first members of the mixed 4x4 in Oklahoma. And so I would say I had to keep moving. I trained with Coach Drew over the summer. He got me right with my blocks. I'm back in the blocks, so that feels great, working on my start. I would say I came really far considering it was a meniscus injury. And that happening in January and me being here now in August and doing what I'm doing, I'm really grateful for it.
That's incredible, and I think that's a testament to your hard work and your desire to be great. Are you eyeballing a specific time in the 400 that you may have hit a couple times in practice, but you want to aspire to and get to that time consistently?
I would say running that 59 was a great rush of adrenaline. I loved it. I do.
That's
Anytime
insane.
I would run anything under, it's just like it's not going to hit the same. And of course, people want to hit a lower time at the expectation of other people, but I have a high expectation for myself, and I would love to hit 57, 56. That's the goal for me. That's just because I believe I can do it.
Coach Jew, what's it been like coaching this young lady?
She's solid. I love Destiny. I love the athlete she is. She's dedicated. Over the summer, I reached out to her one time, and after that, communication was over, like back and forth. She came out here. I'm not gonna lie. Some of the stuff is hard. Track and field is hard. There's no other way to put it. And she don't run from it. She goes towards it.
Is there any other athletes that you're really excited about what they bring to the table?
Yeah.
Shout them out.
There's two other females, Lily, and Kyrie. Those two, they returned from the last year with the 4x1. They broke the state record. So I got those two coming back. I expect highly things from those two. Lily's playing basketball, so we'll see her on the 3-point line this year before she come out the track. But yeah, there's some other ones I'm excited to see too. But those two and Destiny are some of the big names.
Coach, final question for you, if you don't mind. In terms of goals for this season, when's the next opportunity for the team to get out there and compete? And what would you like to see them do? I mean, obviously, asking you a question, when? Because it's a real short answer from you. But there are other things that they all need to get better in. So, what would you like to see from the squad this upcoming season?
The way we warm up, we're going to improve that tremendously. The way we warm up, the way we cool down, and the way we approach our workouts. Just a better idea of what we're doing. They say you want to be conditioned. I agree with that. But condition for me is what you're conditioned to do. I want them to be conditioned to be strong, conditioned to be fast, conditioned to be tough. And that's what I plan to do.
Coach, thank you so much for stopping by. We're at the top of the hour. But if you want to know how to get yourself better and fit, get yourself mentally stronger, and develop your heart to compete in all sports, consider track and field, because that is truly one of the sports that gets overlooked often, but it's the one that's most responsible for developing some of the most unique athletes we've ever seen in the world. Hall of Fame coach Julius Coger here at Millwood will get you there. And Destiny, we look forward to seeing you progress, and of course on the hardwood this coming fall as well. This is Millwood Fall Sports Media Day. Jay Swick, Maurice Prince. We're at the top of the hour. Coming back, it's Super Prep time. Miles Perry coming up next. This is OKC Sports Radio 105.3. Welcome back. Hour number 2, Fall Sports Media Day here at Millwood High School. Maurice Prince, Jay Swick, and we're honored to kick off the second hour of this broadcast. This hour, of course, sponsored by Super Prep, SSM Health at St. Anthony, and of course PPBC TV. Joining us at the table, none other than a lady who is not afraid of any microphone. She was tapping the microphone to make sure it was ready before we got started. It's none other than Dr. Cecilia Robinson Woods. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you guys for having me.
Want to start off, you are still a part of the board, of course, over at OSSAA, correct?
I actually just termed out.
You just
Today
turned
is
out.
the very first meeting in 10 years that I have not been sitting there. So my replacement is a very, very capable lady from Edmond, Debrion Davis, took over today. Today was my first time in 10 years not starting with OSSAA.
So when we start talking about the rules and a lot of other things that have been changing, you've been always in the know, and it's been very beneficial, of course, to your well-established skill set and knowledge about what goes on in terms of high school athletics here in the state of Oklahoma.
Correct. I was on the board until June of this year for the past 10 years, and remain committed to serving on committees to make sure, that this side of town and our community's voice is heard. So I just spoke to David Jackson yesterday with a check-in. So I'm always around and always, going to maintain a presence there within OSSAA. But the way the terms work is you have 2 5-year terms, and then I have to sit out for a max, I think, of 3. And if they want to put me back on, then after those 3 years, I can join again. But it was something I went in almost kicking and screaming. My athletic director, Shannon Hayes, said, "Oh, you'd be great." And I'm like, "I'm not remembering all those rules." And then I went in, and I'm like a rules queen. So, but it was a wonderful experience. But I think we made a lot of decisions in those 10 years that have really impacted what we see today. Some of them were of our own choosing, meaning that we thought they'd be good rules. Some of them were honestly to preempt some of the motion that was going on in the state and the legislature. And we just had to strike first so that we could kind of have some balance, if you will.
Well, I was going to ask, like, from the time 10 years ago that you began to now where you've, moved on, what's been the biggest difference? What has been the most notable changes in the evolution of high school athletics?
Yeah. So I think there's 2 most notable, obviously transfers.
Right.
Right. When I came on, we had just begun to allow freshmen to attend any place. And then from there, we've gone to the 1 additional transfer as long as it's by July 15th. And so that's one of the most notable. One of the other ones that is big is also kind of the division or the concern or the friction between private schools and public schools within the organization.
I want to ask a basketball question because the talk, especially on my radio show, from fans, from parents, is the shot clock.
Yeah.
Can you give us any insight on the potential of the shot clock implementation to high school basketball in the state of Oklahoma?
So I'm going to take you way back first with me. You don't know that you're talking to a woman who played 3-on-3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you could enlighten us.
Starting point guard right here, John Marshall Bears, 4 years. So right. So, but I played 3-on-3 until my sophomore year in high school, and so when that change came around, that was a big deal. What was really unique about that is Oklahoma was one of the last states to transition from 3-on-3 basketball. But if you were a high school athlete like me and you played summer ball, you played full court in the summer. And then you came back to 3-on-3. Shot clock's not that different, right?
Okay.
If you're playing AAU, if you're playing at a certain level of league, you've got a shot clock. And
Right.
so there's a couple of things that I can understand. Most votes in OSSAA are right along rural and urban. If you're in a city area, you're much more progressive. And if you're in a rural area, obviously who you can recruit or who you have or who's coming to your school is really limited. And so in that, they were really concerned about implementing a shot clock in places that, we only have 8 kids playing anyway, and so a shot clock's going to run kids more. It's going to be harder. Conditioning's going to, really matter. And so that's why the shot clock is only at the top levels. It's only 3A and above. So it's not everybody on a shot clock. So that's important to know.
Yeah.
So it's not everybody. So those really small schools that only have 8 and 9 people on a team, we heard them on that. Having said that, their best players are playing with a shot clock anyway, especially if they're playing summer ball. So it makes a big difference. But I think for the classes that agreed to take it on, it was a long time coming anyway, right? Now, I will tell you, the place that will probably have the most difficulty is girls basketball. Especially,
why is that? Why do you feel
well, if you've seen in the past, if you've seen the history, I know you're over at the team down south.
Yeah.
The way they beat fast girls teams is slow the ball down.
Right.
Well, the way they beat fast boys teams.
Right.
Remember that game at Kingfisher?
Yes, I do.
Against Kingfisher
yes,
over
I do.
With Douglas, slowed the ball down.
Yeah.
It didn't come out to their advantage, but the shot clock is going to make, players play. And that's going to be hard for teams who don't have the level of athleticism as others. But like I said, when you're playing with a shot clock, all of those things, your conditioning is going to have to improve. So a lot of things have to change in order for it to happen. But we've got a whole nother year.
Now, the transfer rule. What kind of feedback is the OSSA has received? Is it positive? Is it negative? I know it's a hot topic among circles with parents and fans and schools and all of that. Where do you think it's going? Is there going to be more parameters? Are you satisfied with where it's at right now? Talk to me just your opinion on that.
So,
I know that's a loaded question.
It's okay. So last year, I can't remember the exact numbers, but I would say on an average summer, and I don't know if these are the exact numbers, but I think the ratios will be equitable. If we approved 500 hardship transfers before the transfer rule, last year we approved 1,700. Yeah.
Wow.
And so right. And I will tell you this, I bet you it picks up even more this year, right? I'm not there for the data, but if I ask for the data, we probably approved more. And that is because when something's new and you think it's fun, and you want to try it and reach a peak, and it'll start to level out. So it's new, it's fun, it's shiny, but as soon as people leave and they realize that, it's not everything it was cracked up to be, they'll be fine. People that wanted to leave before found a way to leave.
Right.
They found a way to leave.
And I think it's important for parents, especially, that are interested in these. Grass isn't always greener on the other side.
What I tell everybody is I am a person who believes in every parent's autonomy to do what they need to do for their kid. I literally just hung up with a parent who was concerned about her child leaving and some of the things. I said, look, Mom, whatever I can do to help you, I will do to help you. Your child's happiness is the utmost important to me. If it's not at Millwood, I hope it's somewhere else. That's all I care about. And I think that's the attitude we kind of have to have in this environment, because it's not helpful for anybody to put kids in the middle of whatever is going on, because kids always think that something is greener, right? I mean, if I could go to my grandma's house, she lets me do whatever, it's the nature of being kids. I think as adults, we have to look at it for what it is. Obviously, this is still this is competition, right? So it definitely matters, but I think in the end, and I've had this conversation with my coaches, teams that have good character, who are very supportive, who support their athletes and support the athletes as students, I think we'll win out in the end, right? We'll we're gonna suffer a little bit in the newness of it, but I think in the end, when it comes back around, people will stay where they feel welcome, where they feel supported.
Of course, if you're listening on your radio, we're talking with Superintendent Dr. Cecilia Robinson Woods of Millwood. Before I talk about the state of Millwood and in terms of athletics in this fall calendar, is it ceremoniously when you end your term for them to destroy a building? I mean, Jim Norick's arena comes down and said your term ends. Is there a coalition there?
We shut it down. I think it's fitting for the team the boys team that has the most state championships, the most visits to the state championship, the most runner-ups, and the most wins in boys basketball in the state. It's fitting that, we win a state championship and then they blow it up.
I mean, got to
Well,
start
and
somewhere.
with all of the, the wind storms and the power outages, I think we experienced enough in March, and
Well,
we're looking forward to the new
It didn't
facility.
affect us. It
Yeah.
didn't. We were able to play seamlessly with.
Well, it did
absolutely
affect
no
that team
problems.
south.
Well,
It's
those
just
are
a
my
little bit
problems.
south. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Have you been inside the new arena?
I have been inside the new. Actually, I was part of on the City of Maps. I was part of the team that helped design and build that. So yes.
What stands out? Can you give us a little insight
Well,
of
I
what
think
the biggest
actually
differences are?
The luxury of
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Newness.
saying? Well, no. I mean, you have places on the outside that you can actually sit now around the arena. Before you could just walk around, right?
Right.
And so now you actually could sit down and dine. I mean, we had the little pop-up picnic tables and things, but now you actually have accommodations for that. So I
So
think
wait.
that's one of the best things.
Don't mess things up. You don't want to miss your official tour. I was going to ask her to take us down there and get us a tour. We need to see.
I'll call my friends.
Okay. Very good.
I will say this now, having served at OSSAA, the new arena cost us more. Like that's one of the biggest things that OSSAA is trying to work with the city, to work with the Softball Hall of Fame, is, in order to give kids those experiences where they play in these places, it's a significant cost. And so that's been hard on us, trying to find spaces that we can host where we're not, having to charge families to park, having to have them park too far away,
Right.
trying to accommodate everybody in one space. That a lot goes into that. I don't think people understand how hard that is for OSSAA to find quality venues to host events that are worthy of state titles. So
What about seating capacity?
yeah, I think the seating capacity is at the new arena. I think it is a little bit smaller, but because of how basketball works, it's not a football game, right? So we don't fill the stands hardly
Right.
ever in those. Actually, the most interesting games are the ones that are kind of held in those more intimate gyms,
I agree.
like the game against Kingfisher.
Yeah, in UConn.
Yeah, in UConn. I'm not the biggest fan of their gym just because you can't walk around and get out. But in regards to the intimacy of the game, it's pretty great. Because I'll be honest, playing on that arena floor with a hollow backdrop,
Right.
that's, it's very different. It's very different.
It's way different.
Yeah, way different. I used to say that about Millwood when I played at John Marshall. Millwood had in the old gym, you might remember, the lights were kind
Yeah.
of yellow.
Right.
And everywhere else they were white. And so when I would get over here, I'm just like, I swear to God, I'm blinded. But it was a home court advantage. In fact, when I changed the lights out of there, one of the lights wouldn't come out. So whenever we tour alumni, they're like, the old lights. I was like, we got one over there. They're like, yeah, because that was the home court advantage. And they buzz. Like when you turn them on, they're like, You remember that?
Oh,
right?
yes, I do. Yes, I do. As we start looking at a sports, the sports calendar year for athletics, I know obviously the first day of school, hours away when we start talking about that. I know we're not here for academics, but athletics, when you talk about facility updates and we're talking about that, Millwood is continuing to expand its sports diversity, the portfolio. There's a lot of interest. And now when we can talk with different sports from cross country to softball, how excited about you about how the program, the athletic program overall is progressing here?
It is. I'm very excited. It is very intentional. One of the things, and I can give credit to my high school principal, what we realize when we look at our numbers and our data, if you look at our top 10% in any given year, that kid was in the band, on the football team, in the art club, in the multicultural. We realize just through our own data that if kids are involved, they do better. Right? They come to school every day. They have to have their grades together. And so making sure that we have a variety of opportunities for kids to participate in is very intentional because we know that they do better when they have those things. And I appreciate you saying, it's not about academics, but everybody is a student athlete. So nobody here, I've had conversations with kids who have said, oh, if I'm in public and I have on a Millwood shirt, it's like, I'm thinking about coming to Millwood to play football. And I said, you better think about coming to Millwood to be a student.
That's right.
Then we can talk about football when you get there, right? And so I think that's really important. Our coaches, sing that same song. They have that same mantra, is that you are students first, and then you are athletes. But I'm going to go back to character. If we kind of put our money where our mouth is in regards to holding kids accountable for academics and their behavior and who they are. Coach Franklin and I both walked into Millwood together, hired separately, but at the same time 13 years ago. And he says, what do you need me to do at the high school? And I said, well, the high school had about 300 kids in it at the time. We're just under 350 now. But I said, if you've got 60 kids on that team, 1/5 of that high school is you, right? And then you add 20 cheerleaders, and then you add 60 band members. Almost half of the school is involved in football. If you can get your football team to show good character, to do what they need to do, the rest of the high school will follow. And I've never, ever, ever had to ask him again. If you walk over in there, if my kids didn't walk up to you and tell you they were the star quarterback, which none of them do. I think I would if I were star quarterback. I'd say it.
Yes, you would. Yes, you would. There's no question about it.
Wait, one of our young ladies, who is our lead Sapphire, is also Miss Millwood, and she didn't tell. I was like, "That's our Miss Millwood." They were like, "She didn't say it." I'm like, I might have to get her name tag. This is Miss Millwood, but she is. Our center, Hogan, Jeremiah Hogan, he's Mr. Millwood. They competed in everything for it. So, but they just see it as a way of life. Like, this is how we do business.
Right.
This is who we are. So,
when you talk about that, as I always, for those who don't know, that they have canceled games here because of academic standards if the academics were not there. So that obviously plays a role. But the expansion, sports is changing. You're saying the involvement. Not everybody is going to be a football player. Not everybody is going to be is going to be a basketball player. So the diversity of giving those other athletes opportunities, from Sapphires to cheer to band, what other things do you see down the pipeline that will continue to expand and diversify the great portfolio that Millwood offers?
so so competition isn't just athletics, right? So we have a elementary, middle, and high school robotics team. Elementary and middle school just competed in international competition, and our middle school students were beat by 2 high schools. One of them was Southeast. The other one was from New Mexico. They got 3rd place in international competition in robotics this summer. 3 girls. Yeah. 7th grade girls. But they've been competing in robotics since they were like 8.
Incredible.
So, right. We also have esports. So esports is evolving, where we're getting more and more kids who are participating in esports, and esports in the state is huge.
Yes.
We also started last year, in addition to band, we do solo instrumental competition. So we had our very first superior rating state championship saxophonist last year. So we try in every avenue that we can to get out there and make sure that kids are competing, so that, and competition is important, right? In addition to, all of the other things that we offer outside of sports, and whether that be, academic team or the multicultural club is big. They raise enough money that they went to Europe for 10 days, and so, but super, super important that we try to tap into those kids and make sure that they have those opportunities, because employers want people who know how to work with people, right? And the way you stress test, there's no stress test better than knowing I have to know my music, because my whole band is going to be off if I don't. If I'm not in the same step as everybody else. This robotics team that won 3rd place, they lost their first round of competition because they literally just did not, there's a clearance that you have to do on a sensor, and you have to wave the robot sensor in front of it so it recognizes the light, so it knows when to go. They forgot that. And then the bot that beat them scored like 20 points, and the bot that didn't go could score 150 points. Wow. It was something that simple.
Yeah.
And so they learned from that adversity and never lost again. Like that, you can't create that type of instruction. Like, only competition creates that.
Now, with football, cross country, esports, robotics, Sapphire. I mean, have you reached your limit of programs? Are you still looking into evolving it and growing it?
I'll tell you, this
adding
year
anything?
they're adding powerlifting. I've got a couple of kids who wish they could wrestle, so they were like, "Can we co-op with that school down south and wrestle with them because they want to wrestle?"
Okay.
That's not possible, but
It's a great
not
idea.
because we don't want to, but it's not. It's because of the classes.
Right,
But
right.
yeah. But so if we have kids with interest. Last year, the powerlifting kid, it was a middle schooler. We didn't have any other powerlifting kids. The dad coached him. He put on our M and took him to all the competitions.
Wow.
Yeah, and he won.
incredible.
I can't remember if he won state because he was middle school, so I don't know if it was state. But anything that people are interested in, and we can figure out how to manage it for kids, we're gonna figure it out.
That's awesome.
That's one of the beauties of attending and being a part of. As they say, it's a great day to be a Falcon. Dr. Woods, if we could, as we get ready to close here this afternoon, is there anything that you think that parents do not have a good understanding of that they need to understand when it comes to the role of athletics and the role of the Millwood experience as we go?
I don't know if it's specific to Millwood. One of the things I will say that is a personal kind of deviant for me is when we allow our kids to put out, "I'm going in the transfer portal." And I know it sounds fun, and I'm back to character, right? When you are a child who is kind of dependent or hooked on social media likes and things, you get drawn into that and you say things. Coaches are watching, and the mere thought that just being a good athlete is sufficient to go to college, I don't think parents really understand how integral our coaches are to the future of their kid in regards to recommendations, right? If you're a great athlete, the coach is going to say, "What's he like in class? What's he like in school?" Because they know if that you're a kid that can't manage their emotions, can't manage your temper, can't manage, and you don't have the privilege of watching us as much as Mo.
I do watch from afar. And
say-
trust me,
I'll
I
say
read
live.
about it all the time.
I'll say live. But Mo knows I get really upset when somebody gets a penalty, when somebody gets a personal foul, when somebody gets a whatever, because that's telling me that you can't regulate your emotions,
Right.
and then you can't put that M out there and be out there and doing that. You can't represent that way. So our rules are stricter than OSSAA's. You get a personal foul, you're sitting down. You're sitting down, right? Because that means now OSSAA will let you go 2 before they sit you down. Not here. We're sitting you down. You're going to have to think about that. You're going to have to figure that out. And that's for a couple of reasons. One is we do know that whatever product we put out there represents all of us, right? That's what people are going to see and think of us. But the other one is we don't do you any favors by letting you believe that's the right way to react to adversity, right? We're not teaching you a lesson. We're going to let you just pop off and talk crazy. It's not happening. It's not happening here. It's not happening. So when parents don't always understand that, they want their kids to have the ability, do whatever they want, whatever, because they see their child as representing them. I see their child as representing us. And so I take that very seriously. So
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Cecilia Robinson Wood, Superintendent of Millwood Public Schools. You will see her during all the broadcasts. If not, you will be hearing her, as she has clearly stated, she does not let them get away with the personal foul. Player, no. It will not.
Definitely not coach. Definitely not coach.
It will not happen.
Yes.
And we'll be back on the other side. Cheers coming up next, and then we'll end with football. This is Fall Sports Media Day here at Millwood High School on OKC Sports Radio 105.3.
All right.
Welcome back. Fall Sports Media Day here at Millwood Public Schools. Maurice Prince and Jay Swick. And we've got to get it to the ladies of energy right now. And like I said, cheer comes in so many shapes, forms, and sizes now. But the energy is infectious, and they impact every game because you want to know who is bringing the heat. Joining us at the table this evening or this afternoon, we have Kayla Hester, the coach. And, of course, we have, is it Imani Nolan?
Yes, sir.
And is it Vishawn?
Viceon.
Viceon Embry. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming and joining us. Ladies, what's the most important thing? What do you assess when you hit the floor? What do you, when the first opportunity comes, what is the first thing you think about when it's time to get the game started?
Drive and spirit. I feel like when you have both of those combos, you don't need to worry about anything. Just hyping up our team, making sure we get through the game.
Now, I'm gonna say this. Don't be shy on this mic, because I know all of you make a lot of noise. So please don't. I understand it is ladylike to be soft spoken, but I need you to bring some of that energy. Imani, do you feel the same way?
Yes, it's just the support that we can give our team and the spirit that comes from everyone, especially people in the stands.
Now, of course, Coach Hester, when you're assembling this team, you know, the cheer squad is told, don't look at the score, focus on the energy. What are some of your golden rules that you have for this cheerleading squad?
I would say that's a big one right there. We are there to support, so we know win or lose, we're going to cheer the same at every game. So we're going to cheer like we're winning, even if there's nothing on the scoreboard. And we always tell them, like, you don't realize how important your support is. Like, you really can help change what's going on in the game, because as long as you still believe, then there's somebody out there that's still believing they can win too.
Tell me what life is like as a Millwood cheerleader, and the work that it takes to be at that level.
As far as like daily routine.
Yeah, and just preparation. I'm sure you've got a bunch of different cheers, dances, different things. What all goes into that?
I feel like the biggest thing about it is just to be willing to work. Like, our mindset, we have to come in, be positive, ready to work. Like I said before, drive, like, just got to keep up that energy. As far as being a Millwood cheerleader, I feel like that's what we represent.
Yes, you got to be able to win it.
Now, Coach, what do you look for when you're selecting a cheer squad and your students go on to graduate and then you've got to replace them?
Yeah.
What's that process like?
You know, it is difficult, but what we look for are not necessarily people who are talented. We're looking for people who are teachable.
Okay.
Because in cheer, it's kind of different than other sports. In basketball, you know, they build that skill over years and years and years. But in cheer, if we can see that you are willing to learn, and I can teach you, she can teach you, my student leaders can help you, then that's enough, because we can work on it from there if you're willing to work hard.
Coach, I'd like to talk about some of the history. In recent years, this team has competed nationally, won some national titles. So this is not just a something that you just come in on a mindset and just put on an outfit and do. There is something. There's been an established level. So talk to me about some of the history, recent history, and how it's affecting this year's group of ladies.
Okay. In the past, the teams have been more competitive. They have taken national titles, and this is something that we're really trying hard to get back to. This team definitely has the talent and the strength and the endurance, what it takes to be that. They work very extremely hard all day in the classroom, after school, and a lot of them go home and practice even more. So they know our goals for the year and what we want to achieve, and we're just going straight for that and still cheering on all of our teams and supporting them too. It's a lot of work, but we're going for it.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you in Soul Bowl. I'm sure that's number one on the priority list right now.
Absolutely.
How, ladies, as we get ready to wrap this particular segment up, let me ask you a question. Cheer now has become a vocal thing in basketball gyms now. Now the cheer squads are getting a little bit more, I want to say, not rowdy is not the right word, but I'll say more competitive. Yeah. So now it's about you. I mean, Bring It On has taken it to a new level of competitive cheer. How do you ladies regulate what is the right level to bring on that? And of course, the school has a lot to say about what should and what should not come down into cheerleader behavior. But what's your opinion about that?
Honestly, personally, I feel like the competitiveness is like a side. We're really just there to cheer on our team and to uplift our teammates, and yeah.
When it comes to like us being competitive, it's more of a fun thing.
Mm-hmm.
So after we do cheer on our team, and once they break off for like their breaks or something, then we step up with the next cheerleaders, and we all know it's like a little friendly battle.
Yeah, that's the important part. Lastly, on that, when it comes to making those decisions and making that way, the student section is the one that kind of eggs that on. They're the ones that say, "Hey, do that one cheer."
Yeah.
How do you make that decision?
You tell them no.
That is the best answer.
But I get what they're saying. Like, on game days here, whether it's a football game, a basketball game, it's about, creating the right environment, having energy. It's not competitive unless you're competing with somebody else in maybe like a cheerleading competition format. That's when your competitive juices get ready, right?
Well, we look forward. I was going to ask you, so are the cheers already ready for Soul Bowl?
They're ready.
We're ready.
All right. Well, we'll be looking forward to it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is head cheer administrator, I would say, Kayla Hester. Say your name again.
Viceon,
Embry, and Imani Nolan. Ladies, we look forward to seeing you later on in this school year. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to keep going right quick. Ladies, would you go ahead and step up real quick here? And we're going to move on to football at this time. And, of course,
does he need an introduction? Do we have to give him an introduction?
I am. If you won't,
go ahead.
I'll do it. Ladies and gentlemen, the man of I will say not many words but direct words, head coach Darwin Franklin for football.
Hey. That's right.
Coach, I want to just give you a moment to talk about your program, because that's something when we're in the season, you don't like to talk about the games ahead. You talk about one game, 1 week. That's the only game that matters. Right. You don't like to talk about what happened last game. You really want to focus on the game at hand. But just for a moment, this has been a successful football program. 12-2 last year, 13 consecutive wins the couple of years before that, a very high winning percentage. A lot of folks want to talk about the last game, but this program is built on so much more than just that. And if I wanted to give you a chance to talk about that.
First off, it definitely goes to the staff. We have a phenomenal staff. We don't look ahead. I think that's something that we've done a great job doing, really just staying locked in on the task at hand. We've had some knockdown dragouts. We had one last week where it's very, very transparent. We say family, and families get messy sometimes, but healthy families are able to find resolve and direction, and I think that's one thing that we do. We're getting better. I'll say that. I think it's difficult, but every week it's about winning a ball game first and foremost. Really laying ourselves down and putting our pride aside and trying to do what's right in order to get the job done, and then treat people the right way along the way. Now it's football, so it's gonna get intense and all of that, but. You got a lot of God-fearing men that we try to keep things right and in order and do things a certain way, and try to raise young men and let them be better men because of being in this program, not necessarily in spite of. And that's something that we really focus on.
Now, obviously with the success at your program, you've been in the state championship game 3 years in a row. And it's been difficult to kind of get over that hump, and like teams like Washington. Class 2A is so competitive. There's so many teams. But your philosophy is just, control what you control. Don't try to, don't get involved with some of those distractions and comparisons and all of those different things. What's been the most important part of your program to keep that success going year in, year out?
It's just consistency, really. I think we are blessed to really have had the same core guys on the staff for I think this is my 13th year, and we replace one or two guys per year. We're getting a little bit younger as a staff, getting more of the youth in there, but then still keeping that same core. So when you're able to be around the same guys day in and day out, and you start seeing their kids getting older and graduating, DC said my daughter's graduating, so I got to miss spring practice, and I'm like, absolutely, you can't be here. I take my youngest to college tomorrow for her senior year of college, and they all know her, and she calls them all uncle. So when you're seeing those things. Even old players coming back, and now they're on staff, so they're seeing it from a different perspective. And where parents might have been complaining about us and what we were doing before when they were playing, now your child's one of the coaches. So now if you start complaining, you're complaining about your own kid. So it's just one of those things that's just it's encouraging. It's uplifting. It's a lot of value in it, but we don't let the highs be too high and lows too low, and you're only as successful by your last act. So our last successful act was Marlowe,
right?
And it hurts, and there's nobody that feels that pain more than coaches. The players are very resilient. Next day they're ready to rock and roll, but we feel it, we hear it, and we live it.
Now, I had the opportunity to talk to you over the summer, obviously with the Wes Welker Foundation 7-on-7 camp. Your team really came in there and competed. I was really impressed with some of your linemen with the tug of war.
Absolutely.
Those guys were getting after it. What are you excited for most regarding this year's team? You've had some players graduate, go on to play college football. You've got to have the next man up, step up in a big way.
Yeah.
What is just your ideology going into this year regarding this group of players this year?
It's the same. You get the chance to see young guys develop, and when you're doing this job, this is year 23, I think it is for me. It's a lot of football that I've seen going back to second grade, playing ball with Viking White, and that's where it all started. And so it's a lot of football that's going on. But the one thing that's constantly the same is kids are high school age. So you're always seeing them develop. You're always seeing them grow. To see them become men, to see them become husbands and fathers, and try along the way to instill the things for healthy life outside of this. This is great. Football is one of the best sports that God has ever allowed to be made, because it takes 11 guys consistently doing their one. But if one person doesn't, depending on what group they're in, it can cost it all. So you make one bad decision, one bad move. It's a great parallel of life. So that's what we get to see. That's what I'm looking the most forward to, pouring into more guys and getting to know each and every one of them, having some conversations that have nothing to do with football. We got entrepreneurs on the team right now. We got key people that's going to be in society and doing community work now. And they're getting ready to be a senior. This is Jeremiah Hogan. He did a whole community event last year, which was huge, and we got two guys that got clothing lines that they're doing that. Some guys that love to fish and go hunting. I mean, it's just a bigger life outside of this, right? And getting them to understand that, hey man, what we do during this time is what we do during this time. Who are you outside of this? That's what I want to know. And the football is going to be football, but the man is more important.
Coach, one of the things that you don't get a chance to discuss, and I think people need to know that if you really want to understand your program, understand that you love the day-to-day as much as you love the game.
I love it.
And I mean, so the preparation, the growth, the development, the units becoming that, to me, you epitomize that, but it doesn't. People only see the result on Friday, but they don't understand everything that went into that process. You've got great assistant coaches that have helped you develop some players. I remember you telling me on many occasion, hey, we don't have a great O-line or a great D-line, but you had one by the end of the year to compete for that state championship because the guys committed to the work.
Right.
So can you elaborate just a little bit on your love for just the passion for the development of the skill positions, of the interior positions and focusing? So I have never had a chance to share this one with you, but Denver Young, who was a field goal kicker, they didn't have one last year going into the season, but by the season was over, you had had one to develop it, and that's an exciting story for me, Coach.
Well, it's Denver's an example of coming in and starting out being a young cat, questioned himself. He questioned himself a lot, and a lot of people don't understand that. Smart as a whip. Him and another one of his teammates are competing for number 1 and number 2 spot in their class for graduate next year. And, with boys, you razz them all the time and all that kind of stuff, and you're giving them the blues. But he stepped in and had a bad experience at a camp and wasn't really sure he wanted to kick anymore, And we said, hey, man, just give it a chance. And Coach Brent came in and said, I just want to work with kickers. And he worked with Denver and worked with them, and he got bigger and stronger and a little bit older. And now, man, he's tearing up the building when he kicks. I mean, and it's consistent, And then we got a freshman kid that comes in, and when we have those special teams days and we say, hey, who's familiar with long snapping? Who's familiar with kicking? Now they're raising their hand like, hey, I can long snap. Hey, I can kick. So, he's brought life back to those unseen positions. And it's just consistency. Like I said, I have imposter syndrome, fear. I know I'm not the smartest in our coaching staff. I know that because you don't ever want to be the smartest in the room. I want to be able to learn from everybody. I learn from these kids daily, and just having conversations. But in the same exact breath, it's a fear of being unprepared. Like the amount of time that my wife will tell you. Yeah. I love to win. God, I hate to fail. Yeah. I absolutely hate it because you go back and you look and say, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. Should I have made this decision? But the decision you made was because of being in that moment, what else you knew. A lot of people can say, hey, they need to run this or they need to do this or they need to do that. But when these gentlemen are around these kids every single day, you get to know what they comprehend. You get to know how they think. You get to know what they can do in class. When you're talking to teachers, how they retain information, how they interpret information. Is it too much? Do you have to dial it back a little bit? Can we change? Can we get the same thing out of this by doing something else that they're already comfortable with? So it looks one way from the stands, but you don't know that this kid is struggling at home. So if you ask him to do one more thing, he might just black out and forget it all. Some people say my baby should be on the field. Yeah, but here's the deal. We don't want your baby to be on the field and he have failure. And then he never achieves what we know he could if he gets a little bit more time to develop. My baby shouldn't be playing JV. This is where you get the most reps before we put you out there in front of them lights, because them lights are unforgiving. So, you don't want to – I'll take all the heat for losing. I'll take that. I don't want our kids to feel any of that. We lose a ball game, it's my fault. I can be the scapegoat. I turned off my Facebook for that reason, because my daughter was getting ready to get married last December, and after losing that game, everybody was saying Coach Frank needs to be fired. There's a horrible job, this, and this. And it hurt me because my daughter's getting ready to get married, and she's worried about me.
Right.
And I said, here, I'll tell you what I'll do. I turned it off. And I said, now you ain't got to worry about me hearing nothing because I'm not going to hear it.
Well, I'm glad you turned it off because I thought you unfriended me. But that's all right. And that doesn't matter. I'm going to ask the question that I think a lot of Millwood alumni, a lot of football fans in the state of Oklahoma are wondering. You've got to replace a quarterback. And you've got a quarterback battle that's going to take place, and it's taking place right now. And, it's probably a decision that you haven't made yet. We'll find out eventually. What do you look for in a quarterback? And can you give us an insight on just who's competing for that job?
Poise, comprehension, peace. That's what I look for.
When you say peace, how does that apply to quarterbacks?
They have a calm in the storm.
Okay.
Are they able to compartmentalize, never let their highs be too high and their lows too low, emotionally stoic, to where nobody knows what you're thinking, but they're able to make the decisions that they need to make that nobody else really wants to make. Right now is Denver Young and Donnie Bly. They're going at it. There's another cat that did say he missed practice yesterday, so he's going to owe us for that. But there's another cat that's possibly going to step in there. If he'd been in practice, I'd mention his name. But since he wasn't, he knows who I'm talking to. But Denver and Donnie, they're getting after it. Coach Batson is he's quarterback coach. And usually how it happens is we'll sit there and we talk all the time I've known him for 40 plus years. I don't even remember. I don't know when I met him. Put it that way. So we like running together in high school and everything. So parents, friends, dad taught my dad. So it's just all this different stuff. But we have conversations constantly. And I walk up to him and say, what are you thinking? And I trust what he says because nobody wants to fail here, and so that's another thing, you give people ownership, and I think with those two, they will be able to come and say, I don't know if I'm ready yet. I think because they want the team to be so successful, they understand that, hey, if I got to be the one on the back burner in order for us to win, then I'll do that. That's fine.
Coach, final question for you, and I'm going to hit you with a curveball, and I'm gonna hear about this one from you later. I know I will.
Okay.
But this is a fun question. I would like to know how much money your dad got in a check for real estate when they tore down the Jim Norick Arena, since they didn't get his approval to tear that down. Because
that's his house. That's his house.
They tore the man's house. I was upset about that, and I said I was expected to hear somebody asking some questions about that.
Nah, he took their hardware, so it's okay.
For anybody
the hardware resides at the wood, so that's all right. If
you want to know where the pedigree comes from for Coach Franklin, look no further than his father, Verl K. Franklin, the author of basically championships at Millwood in terms of state basketball. But his impact and legacy extends beyond that because he was also a legacy in the classroom.
Absolutely.
And so when you talk about Dad, Coach Franklin, because when I say that, that's the first person you think of.
Yeah.
What does that arena and that part of that legacy and lineage that you are building here, how does that all correlate together?
The big house is just home. That's how I grew up. There wasn't any place that you expected to be in March than down at the Jim Norick Arena. I mean, I literally didn't know it was called the Jim Norick Arena until I came back and started coaching back in Oklahoma City. I just called it the big house and said it's home. If you play at night and you drive up and they got the gold lights on, you understand what you're playing for. You're playing for that gold light. That's what you want. So his legacy, it runs deep. The beautiful thing about it is it doesn't matter. It's never mattered to me. It's never mattered to him. The crazy thing, I talked to him last night, and he usually answers the phone, "Hey, baby." And it's like, "What's up, Daddy? What's going on? How you doing? What do you need? Is there anything you need?" So that's Dad, and it never we'll talk about it, but it never gets outside of father and son. That's he wants to make sure that I'm okay. I want to make sure he's okay, and all the other stuff is just what we do.
We're not going to have enough time for you to answer this, but I need you to do it in about 30 seconds.
Okay.
The Thunders.
How you going to say you're not going to have enough time?
We're not going to have enough time, but I can't help myself.
I love you, Maurice.
The Thunder won the World Championship.
Yeah.
How what that team accomplished will help you in coaching this fall?
I got the photo of Shea in front of the memorial in my office. It was 30 years ago. I was sitting in class right across this field, and I've never forgotten it. And when I saw it, it brought tears to my eyes because it was the total culmination from despair and tragedy to celebration. And for them to get that photo, man, that was oh my gosh, that was perfect. It was perfect. I think Coach Dagnall just did a phenomenal job of being who he was. When everybody else was saying, do something else, he was himself. And I think and the team was them. They were young guys, and they were unapologetically themselves. And I think the innocence people need to focus on, there's beauty in them not knowing how to pop champagne. That's a beautiful thing. There's some innocence there. And cynical people that we was doing it early and we knew how to do it in 18, I was like, that's kind of cool. As a dad, as a husband, as a father, if my girls say, I don't know how to open a wine bottle, I'm like, man, I did some things right. Like their parents did a great job with them, and they've done a great job of being focused on winning and just doing stuff the right way. So I applaud them. Can't wait for season 2. Who knows what'll happen?
Ladies and gentlemen, Millwood head football coach Darwin Franklin, and he and his team and his coaches do it the right way. I want to thank everyone for tuning in today to Millwood Fall Sports Media Day 2025. More high school prep media days are coming next week right here on OKC Sports Radio. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, X, or Facebook for more details. Swick, thank you so much for being a part of this. Coach,
Pleasure.
Thank you. You can also make sure you can stream all events, and more will be coming, sponsored by SSM Health, Super Prep, and PPBC TV. Have a great afternoon.
back here live at Millwood Fall Media Day with a bunch of Millwood Falcon football players here. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Good. All right.
How excited are we about this season? I want to do one at a time. We can start with you, Anthony Keys. I mean, you're going to be toting the rock quite a bit this season, just like you did last season. How excited are you about this year?
We're very excited, man. Glad to be back. Happy.
What's this off-season program been like for you? Do you feel like you're physically ready for battle this upcoming season?
For sure. Our new conditioning coordinator, he been getting us right. We've been doing good, running, staying in shape. I love it. I'm just ready for the season.
Now, are you taking on kind of a bigger leadership role on this team? What year are you?
For sure. I'm 27, so this will be my junior year, so I'm more like the older guy. So, yes, I'm definitely taking on a big leadership role.
All right. What about you, Marquise Vick? You're taking on kind of a new role this year. What position do you play?
2027 defensive end, tight end, and the H-back.
Which one do you like playing more?
Defensive end, sir.
So you're a sack master. You're an edge rusher.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. All right.
All right, just want to throw this over. Denver, you've had a versatile role in this offense on this team for the last couple of years. You know, you've kind of stepped up and grown in so many roles now. We heard from Coach Franklin you're competing for the quarterback position. What's the most important thing that you have learned that you're trying to utilize to help yourself be the best you can be for this team?
Most important thing I've learned is staying level-headed. Even whenever it's rough, maybe I don't get a couple completions, then I go out on defense and make up for it, and then come back on offense again to make up for my mistakes. So just staying level-headed through just having trials and tribulations, and just staying on course.
Mr. Hogan, when we start talking about your role with the team, what positions are you vying for this year, and how do you see your role and diversity and changing for this team?
I'll be the center, which I've done that the past 2 years, so there's really no change there. But I'll be playing a little bit of Mike linebacker this year, and that's a little different because the past 2 years I haven't played defense. I kind of stayed offense oriented, so trying to learn the defense and get that together so I can know what to call, when to call it, and that's really different for me this year.
Marcellus, Grant Johnson, of course, joining us also on the table. Marcellus, define for us your role on this team, what position you're playing, what are you competing for, and how does this Falcon team get better?
We just get better day to day, practicing and doing what we do best. This year I'll be playing linebacker. I've been the linebacker behind a lot of great guys like Chaz Doolin and Cameron Carter. Y'all know them. And it's just my role. My role now is just show by example, because I'm not really like a speaker. I'm really just an actions guy.
He said, "I'm the guy who just see me what I do on the field." Any one of you can answer this question. You guys are turning the page, and this is a new season. You're not reflecting, as Coach often says, the last great game that was played was Marlowe. So, how are you guys looking forward toward this season, and how will you compete?
Like we always compete. You know, we step up no matter who it is, where it is. We just step up to the competition every week. Our goal every week is to beat whoever we're playing that week. So, like right now during practice, our goal for this week is simply to beat the effort that we gave last practice. Right now, we're just trying to get better every day, and then going into the season, we just want to get better every week.
Well, we know the standard set being a Millwood Falcon, and it's based off the hard work of others, alumni, people that have come before you. What does it mean to you personally? And this is I want each and every one of you to answer this. What does it mean to you personally to be a member of this football team and to be a member of the Millwood Falcon football program? It's such a prestigious title. Not everybody can do it. But what does it mean to you each personally?
I'll say it's lovely, but it's also a challenge because, the guys, they put in so much work for this. This facility right here, our past guys built this for us to have, for us to be great in. It's a big challenge, man, but it's a big role to play, and I love it. For me, it means a lot because it's kind of a set high expectations because my cousins went here, and they were some of the guys that helped us build this facility that we're in right now. You know, they were great players. Started for Coach Frank. My cousins, they just know Coach Frank, and they've been here in this program, so it's a lot of high expectations that I got to meet. But I know I can meet them, and I want to be better than them. So that's how I know it's high for me personally. It's a challenge, but I'm going to get it done.
It's an honor and blessing to rock this blue. You got to be a go-getter to bleed this blue.
Yeah, I agree with Vic on that. It's just you got to have some type of love for the sport, and it got to be totally different when you a Falcon, man. Yeah, it's just different.
It's hard. It's really hard. Because everywhere you go, no matter whether you're here, whether you're outside of here, somebody knows you. You go to Millwood, you play football. It's like you got a target on your back, you know, because like you said, the standard. Everybody knows about the standard, and since for the past however many years we've upheld that standard. It's really hard trying to make sure that we doing what we need to do to keep that going, especially when we have coaches on our team who were a part, like Denver was saying, his cousins, who were a part of the back-to-back championships. We got a coaching staff that coached those back-to-back championships. So it's like, we got to make sure that we upholding that standard and keeping just that championship mentality here.
Let me ask you, Hogan, just about your leadership role this year. You're, from my understanding, you're the only returning offensive line starter from last year's team. So you're being depended on in a big way, being the starting center again this year and being the guy with experience. What are you trying to? How do you try to make your teammates and the people around you better, based off your experience and some of the things that you've been through?
So if you ask other players, they'll tell you I've been kind of hard on them all summer. Because during the summer our coaches kind of stepped back and they let us as the older guys kind of take over. And so in doing that, it's been like I've been on everybody every day. We need to be disciplined. We need to be focused every day, especially on that line, because all the guys that I have next to me were either JV or they weren't playing last year. And so, a lot of the little things, little techniques and plays and stuff, they really having to learn and adapt to that, especially the speed, because, that speed from middle school to JV to varsity, it's a huge gap. So making sure that they're ready for that speed and just keeping them up in practice, just staying on them as much as I can, helping them out as much as I can, because I know our coaches are great coaches and they explain things great, but everybody might not understand the same way. So trying to make sure that I can explain it in a way that everybody understands it, and still making sure that the intensity is there and everything. Just getting them ready to play at the speed that they need to play at, because like I tell our linemen all the time, these defensive linemen don't care about you. Their goal is to punch you in your mouth and get back to who's behind you. And so I tell them you have to really be aggressive to want to be here. I'm not big, I'm 185. But because I'm aggressive, I can get that little bit of extra push. It kind of gives me, it allow me to stay down in the trenches. And so I'm just telling them, you just got to bring that aggression if you want to be down here. So that's really what it is.
You got to be a dog, man.
You got to be a dog.
You got to be a dog. Now, you guys are kind of the leaders of this football team. Is there some of your teammates that are not here that deserves a little bit of recognition? Maybe that's working a lot in the off season in preparation for this upcoming season. Is there somebody that you're excited to watch play the game, play alongside them, and then obviously, win games and accomplish your goals? Is there somebody out there that you have high expectations for? Maybe that's a teammate that's not here.
For one, I'll say I like all my teammates. They all work hard every day, come ready to work. They give their all 100%. But if I had to shout one out, I'd say DeMontre Butler. He a freshman. He coming in. He's working hard every day. He's standing on it. He giving 100%. He learned how to listen. He take constructive criticism. I like that kid a lot. I'm ready to see what he can do. Oh, for me and Vic, it's really D'Angelo Robinson. He's a freshman linebacker, sophomore year coming up, and he got it. He really does. He just has to lock in. One for me, I would say, is Carter Ray. And Carter Ray, he's been here. His brother was playing here, and my cousins play with his brother, so he definitely knows what it takes. And he was one of those guys last year. He was just a freshman, so He didn't really get enough shine as the others, but he for sure is going to step up this year as the wide receiver 1, and you're going to see a lot of Carter Ray. You're going to be saying his name a lot.
I'm going to have to shout out two, if that's all right. First, Bryce Morris. He played for us last year as a freshman, safety, receiver. He really great athlete. He played with his big brother played for us last year, and his mentality, he's just trying to get better every day. He come flying around. He have some moments, but for the most part, he is a really great player, and I'm really excited to see his growth this year. And then also got to shout out Emmanuel Morales. He's a new player to the team, but just he's had some struggles coming in trying to adjust to the discipline and everything. But just his mentality, his focus, he does drills with Keys and Sellis, that they are running backs. He does drills with them, and he's like, man, I got to figure this out. I got to get better. I got to figure out what I got to do to get better every day, so I can be the best I can be. And and he's really athletic. So I'm just really excited to see how that progression goes as the season goes on.
Jeremiah, I want to go back to something you said, but this is a question for anybody who wants to answer it. And that question comes down to one thing. I'm going to say a word, and all of you are going to smile when I say this word, because it's something that you guys have heard from the coaches a million times. I've been here for some of the practices, but I need someone to explain. You said it's different around here. There's a standard. So that becomes with player accountability. Notice the head nods. What does it mean to be accountable? Because one thing the other teams have not figured out how to do is to be accountable the way Millwood is accountable to each other. Can somebody explain that to the audience out here?
I have to give it to our coaches. From the moment you get here, you are accountable, responsible for every decision, everything you say. The second you get on the field, and I remember this for my freshman year, first practice my freshman year, somebody messed up. They said, "Oh, my bad." Coach Frank said, "Yeah, it's your bad. Who else's fault is it gonna be?" And so getting that mentality of getting out of the habit of just saying, "Oh, my bad, coach. I was just trying to blah blah blah." You don't get the chance to make excuses. And I think when you take away that aspect of it, that taking away the idea that players can just make the excuse of, "Oh, my bad, coach, I was just trying to," and just telling them like, "Hey, yes, it's your fault. Don't say it's your fault. Don't make an excuse for it. Just say, I'm going to make the next one. I'm going to make the next play." And then to go even further than that, and from at least what I've tried to do as a captain this year, is trying to instill in everybody that same thing of like, hey, be responsible in everything you do. We run if we're late. It's like we do everything we can to make sure that discipline is there, because once that baseline of discipline is set, once you understand that all of these little things are the things that really matter, the accountability just starts to naturally flow. And that's one big thing, just doing the little things. And then like Coach Frank says, like as far as the field goes, like Coach Frank said, doing their one, making sure you're accountable, doing your one job. And so if that's all you're accountable for, that's all you're thinking about the whole time, I'm going to do my one job. How do I do my one job effectively? Then everybody starts to become more accountable, and it just flows throughout the whole team.
When it goes like that, anybody else need to add on to that, because the accountability, it spreads. When it spreads from one position, it's 11 others. How the rest of you guys feeling about that?
Well, I'll say on the accountable part, it started off the field first. Our coaches are big on making us a good man, a great person, want us to be a great husband, a great father, and stuff like that for the future. They're big on keeping us ready, keeping us in tune outside of the football field. So I say accountability starts off the field first. Once you handle off the field actions, it leads on and helps provide for the on field actions. That's what I like about accountability. Sorry about that.
That's not a problem. Anybody else want to speak before I throw out another one?
Yes, how Hogan said, he's definitely been keeping all of us accountable this year. I want to give praise to him. We've all been accountable. So like whenever he yells at us, people are starting to just listen and just do what he say. You got to be accountable on what you say. Like if you miss a line, nobody argue with him now. We just go back and touch the line. So Hogan has definitely stepped up and helping all of us to be accountable. And he's just been a good leader this year, and yeah.
Well, I think it's such a beautiful thing when everybody does accomplish their job. What happens? You score a touchdown or you make a stop. When things like that, when it works, when everybody does their individual job and you accomplish what you want to accomplish as a team, that's the most rewarding thing. And then that's what I'm excited most about seeing with you guys this season.
Yes, sir. It definitely is rewarding, but like our coaches have prepared us to get in that situation. So yeah, the crowd's cheering, but like we know we expect ourselves to make those plays. So like it's definitely fulfilling to make that stop or whatever. But our coaches have prepared us to and expect us to make those plays. So it's like it's really nothing new for us to make those plays. So yeah.
And yeah, kind of something I've noticed different, kind of what you're saying, like everybody doing their one, like the attention to detail from this team this year has been so much more focused on than I've seen before. Like this is my 4th year playing, and I can just say, like, even from the first 2 practices that we had, the attention to detail, the focus everybody has on doing the little stuff, taking the little steps is just phenomenal. Like the questions that I'm hearing asked, you don't usually hear those questions asked because we've had a lot of guys who just rely on the athleticism, just fly around the field, do what they can. But the guys this year are really focused on doing all of the little things. And I think that's going to be like the biggest difference between one mess up here, one mess up there, is like the focus that everybody has to their positions. And so that's just been a big thing.
Guys, one last question before we wrap this up this afternoon. When you guys are looking at this season upcoming, and you guys are looking and preparing for those things, there are going to be games that are bigger than others. There are going to be games that have more hype and more talk. So my question really is, how does this team, when you say they're focused on detail, limit the distractions? Because you've got fan distraction, family distraction, social media distraction. How does this team turn that out to focus on what the task at hand is?
It's understood from day one. It doesn't matter what anybody is saying on the radio, on Facebook, at the house, in the stands. If we don't get the job done, the intensity of the game doesn't make a difference. So just getting that understood, and Coach Frank has been doing that as long as I've known him, just making it understood. It doesn't matter whether it's state championship or the worst team in the conference. Just making it understood that you need to approach every game the same way, the same intensity, the same level is kind of how we focus on that. And like even like in practice and stuff, it's made clear, like, hey, let go of the outside distractions. Like we don't do none of the. Coach Frank really hates us interacting with social media at all, but it's understandable because taking that distraction away really helps us focus. And when you lose that, when you take out the social media and the fans and all of that, it really helps as a team for us to focus up and come together a little more and kind of focus on the goal. But that's really what it is, just understanding from day one that the goal of the week is to win the game. It doesn't matter the team, doesn't matter the opponent. The goal is to win the game. It doesn't matter how much hype the game has. It could be nobody's watching the game. It could be a million people watching the game. If we're not performing, it doesn't make a difference. And so I think as long as everybody understands that, then we'll be good.
Everyone always wants to ask what and how the Falcons do what they do. They have a red line here, and they have to play above it for those who don't understand. And for those who do, you just heard from Denver Young, Anthony Keys, Jeremiah Hogan, Marquise Vick, Marcellus Grant Johnson, who are representing that at a very high level. You want to watch some good football this year. Once again, they have a goal. We'll see if they accomplish it at the end. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no better way than to end Millwood Fall Sports Media Day than with the Falcons themselves. He's Jay Swick. I'm Maurice Prince. Thank you so much for tuning in. Sponsored by Super Prep, SSM Health, and also